fantastic items moving forward immediately out of here. But before we get to those final action items and a special surprise about an air race that's coming, it's time for us to switch over to the unveiling and an introduction for that unveiling by Senator Murkowski. And for that, Dr. Roper, I'll hand it back over to you to introduce Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Thanks, Colonel Diller. It's a pleasure to get to be here for our virtual unveiling, but an even bigger pleasure to be able to introduce Senator Murkowski from Alaska. I get to see her frequently on defense-related subcommittee meetings, and she knows the importance of Alaska, not just for the Air Force, though certainly we have air bases there, test ranges there like J Park that are the envy of the world, but it's critical for our nation's defense. I love that line, whoever controls Alaska controls the world. It's very true from an air power perspective. So it should be no surprise to anyone that Senator Murkowski is excited about this new emerging technology that's going to change the way the military operates, change the way we all operate. So Senator Murkowski, welcome to the launch of Agility Prime. Thank you for joining us for the closeout. We're excited to hand the mic over to you for your introduction, ma'am.
This is Senator Lisa Murkowski. I want to offer my congratulations to Dr. Roper and his team for achieving this revolutionary rapid contracting and prototyping method to bring industry and DoD together to develop this new exciting technology with both military and civilian applications. Also, congratulations go out to St. Paul Aleut and Sabrewing for leading this effort with the DoD and bringing this advanced electric vertical takeoff unmanned aerial transportation technology to reality. We know that Alaska has some weather issues, but really it's perfect testing. Location, because of its extraordinary airspace, is a great benefit. We know that with our extreme weather conditions, these products can be tested, but access to cutting-edge technology with research done by Alaskans and in Alaska is just great. These new unmanned platforms can be used to drop needed supplies in remote areas, deploy and evacuate soldiers, and provide logistical spokes to make our military more agile and mobile. It also has many civilian and industry applications such as mass transit, shipping, and even offering safe and secure access to areas where runways aren't present, like in many parts of Alaska. This technology will have great benefit to the needs that we have in Alaska and the Arctic, where conventional aircraft, vehicles, and vessels oftentimes can't operate. So again, I'd like to offer my thanks to the leadership of our great Air Force. For those at St. Paul Aleut and Sabrewing, congratulations.
Thank you, Senator Murkowski. It was such a pleasure having you here for Agility Prime, and we look forward to keeping you updated on our progress and hopefully bringing these vehicles to the J Park range for an early test mission. It's also my pleasure to be able to introduce Representative Eric Swalwell from California's 15th District, where he served since 2013. Now, I didn't know this before reading the introduction material for him, but this district has more PhDs than any other in the country. So it's probably not a surprise we're inviting him to a high-tech kickoff for an emerging technology. Aside from having Northern Silicon Valley, he also has Lawrence Livermore and Sandia. So he has an important district for national security, and it's a pleasure to welcome him to the kickoff of Agility Prime. It's important that we have members of Congress who are our partners. We can't do anything alone in the Air Force without having members of Congress who are our partners to help make things that are at first ideas to make them reality. So Representative Swalwell, it is a pleasure to welcome you. The mic is yours.
Well, thank you, Will. Thank you to Agility Prime team, Sabering, for what you're doing. But I really want to thank the men and women who are wearing the uniform in the Air Force, who are helping us get through this crisis. And, you know, it was really heartening to see that the Air Force showed its own agility by being able to have the Air Force Academy graduation 2 weeks back. It was a different celebration than in years past, but that showed that the Air Force is a resilient group, and we were able to honor those who have stepped to serve us. And yes, I'm here with my family, just like many of you. I'm adjusting. We're running a startup preschool. We've got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old here. My wife works from home, but I did want to take just a moment to recognize the technology that is being invented and ultimately will be deployed in theater and, of course, here domestically in the United States because of Agility Prime. Agility Prime is part of our Defense Department's long history of turning futuristic ideas into reality. You know, flying cars are not just a dream makers at Hanna-Barbera. It's actually advanced air mobility vehicles are possible because of the ingenuity of men and women in uniform. And it also reflects just the long-standing history of the Department of Defense making military investments in innovation, giving us EpiPens, superglue, GPS, and of course, internet. And unmanned cargo aircraft, I think of this as, large drones that can carry hundreds of thousands of pounds of medical supplies, food, and equipment. It's going to help the United States support people during disasters, particularly like this one, but of course, in the future, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires, in the San Francisco Bay Area. And with help with the Agility Prime program, Sabrewing aircraft is testing its prototype in Hayward. And Hayward is the heart of my congressional district. It's one of the most diverse cities in America. And it's also, as you pointed out there, Will, in the East Bay, we have over 10,000 physicists, people who work at our national laboratories, people who are a part of this great Bay Area economy. And I think you picked a great spot to try and invent and launch this capability. So we're proud that Hayward is a part of the team. So the future is near. I'm proud that the federal government is investing in revolutionary ideas. And by working with all of you, Agility Prime is leading the way. So your work as innovators, educators, and employers is critical for our nation's future. And again, just as we get through COVID-19, and we're going to come out of this very soon, I know that I'm heartened to know that the innovation goes on. And I just want to give you just an update because right before I got on the call, I check every day religiously at about this time, the new numbers that come out for COVID-19 cases. And in the last 3 days, we've had 36 new cases, then 35, and then today, 34. That's exactly where we want to be, to see that number continue to come down. And I think that really is a testament to the discipline and the collaboration we've seen in the Bay Area. So we hope that we'll all be able to go out to Hayward and celebrate the work you're doing in person very soon. But right now, I'm very grateful for all of you and this private-public partner.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Senator Murkowski, ma'am, really appreciate your great words. Representative Swalwell, thank you for being here. And Dr. Roper, again, thank you for providing the motivation behind all of this. Indebted to all of you, and would like to transition over now to our unveiling. And before we do that, a quick introduction by an individual who hopes to be one of the first beneficiaries of this technology. I'd like to introduce Amos Filimonov, the president of the Aleut tribe. Prior to his present position, he was a fisherman round year and did crabbing in the fall and winters, chasing halibut in the summers. 12 years ago, he was elected to the tribal council seat, and the very next year, he was sworn as the president of the council. Amos is a staunch tribal advocate and loves working with the tribal teams to raise the quality of life in his hometown. One of the ways he intends to raise the quality of life is by taking a vehicle that we're about to see that's going to provide long-range vertical takeoff and landing logistics with a hybrid propulsion system. And by doing that, being able to quickly provide the logistics supplies necessary, connecting his Aleut tribe with the supplies that tribe needs year-round. And without further delay, I'll hand it over to Amos.
Nate, looks like there's some tech troubles with Amos here. So I think we might go to the next speaker and come back to him, and I'll work in the background to try to get Amos back live with you. How about that?
He is coming from the very far reaches of the Aleutian Islands, so it could take a little while. We expected these. We will innovate through them, and we're going to switch over to our innovator for today, the CEO of Sabrewing, for this unveiling. Ed, over to you and your team, and thanks for joining us today.
Ed, you guys are still on mute. It looks like you're pretty far away from the controller, so you got to go off mute, and then we'll be able to hear you.
Okay, can you guys?
Okay, we can hear you loud and clear. Take it away. Can't wait.
Okay.
So excited.
Great. And oh, by the way, I just got a text from St. Paul. They're needing to be let into the room, by the way. So, but anyway, thank you very much, Colonel Diller, and Dr. Roper and Brandon. I appreciate the introduction. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of St. Paul Island, I'm Ed DeReyes, Chairman and CEO, along with Oliver Garrow, our Chief Technology Officer, who's actually the person that did the heavy lifting, so to speak, on the aircraft. And also the Board of Directors of Sabrewing. We're talking to you today from the hangar at our DragonWorks facility in Hayward, California, as you just heard Congressman Swalwell say. We're very grateful to them as well for their input and for the kind words that they had to say about Sabrewing. So on behalf of the whole crew here, including our investors, thank you to everyone for having us here, and great job too to the production team. You guys have done very, very well, and we appreciate that. We'd also like to give special thanks to the Aleut community of St. Paul Island, who've always welcomed us with their open hearts and open homes as though we were a family. We're very appreciative of that. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for our development partners, a lot of which you see are up on the board behind me here. But we'd like to start with Torre, whose hat I'm wearing today. They're our first partner. They were there from the very, very beginning. And they have been all in from the very day that we opened our door. We'd also like to thank Mr. Kendall Obliak and Mr. Jared Wagner of Torre, and especially thankful to Mr. Michael Cichon, who sadly is no longer with us. To Garmin and Mike Pogge for being one of our devoted detect and avoid system partners, and for supplying us with equipment and other items that we need for our detect and avoid. To Rocky Zhang and Oklahoma University, who are supporting us with their unparalleled software and on our collision avoidance radar. To Jason Isaacs with Cal State University Channel Islands for his software support. To Andrew Legg and Jeff Saucedo of Cobham, Satcom. And to UAvionics, Iris Automation, Atolo Engineering, Euroavionics, and several other development partners. Also to Dr. Paul Mahler, who many of you may know as the father of the flying car. He's a mentor, he's a friend, he's an advocate, and he's a visionary who, without his vision of the future that included flying cars, none of us would be here today. To Charlie Wentz, a brilliant engineer and loyal friend. Charlie, along with Dr. Mahler, sat on our design review board and gave us a lot of excellent guidance. Sadly, Charlie passed on March the 2nd, 2020, and Charlie's passing leaves a great hole in not only in our hearts, but in the hearts of many others. We'd also like to thank Peter Hermans and Hans Hirkens of the Platform Unmanned Cargo Organization, who've been supportive of our efforts. And finally, we would also like at this time to announce our new partner to our family of partners, development partners. That new family is Safran Helicopter Engines. We've chosen the Ardent N3 to power the Rhaegal-B and also be tested on the Rhaegal-A aircraft. Truly, this is a day of firsts, especially for the Air Force, but especially for us as well. With the help of our partners, Sabrewing has been able to create something that's unique and exists nowhere on Earth. Here, we'll cut to a video of our scale model, or a live shot of our scale model. It's starting with a very basic design. We continue to refine and sculpt the aerodynamic shape to come up with a lift to drag ratio of 25:1. Certainly the highest of any VTOL, and even high for high efficiency aircraft as well. Based on that, then it wasn't just another sexy aircraft. We had to be able to lift a large payload and fly at high altitudes and to be able to keep away from tall mountains in towering thunderstorms. Sabrewing spent months speaking with air cargo carriers, overnight package delivery companies, and other cargo transporters to determine what features an aircraft had to possess in order to make them want to not only buy it, but to operate it as well. Almost unanimously, these companies stressed upon us several very, very important things. To begin with, it must be capable of carrying at least a metric ton of payload. It also must be capable of accommodating standard cargo containers because they didn't want to buy containers that wouldn't be used on any other type of aircraft. It must be capable of delivering cargo to the most remote locations on Earth. It must be able to fly in any weather that would be too dangerous for human crews. It had to use the same fuel, tools, and other equipment that they're currently using in their aircraft fleet. So no batteries, no fuel cells, or even aviation gasoline. It must be more efficient than a manned aircraft, including the cost to operate and maintain. It must be capable of spending a minimum amount of time in phase inspections or another heavy maintenance, yet be fully capable of being utilized to its maximum extent possible. It also needed to be plug and play, so to speak. So it should be able to enter service from the very day that they receive it. It should also be easy to learn how to fly, so not a lot of hours required from a remote operator to be able to fly it. It cannot have multiple open rotors, that become a hazard to ground personnel. And it should be able to complete its entire mission, even if it loses communication with the ground. Sabrewing's design process was to start with a CAD model that was extensively tested for reliability, structural strength, and modularity, and also for producibility. All of our models, all of our engineering analysis, and even methods were reviewed by an independent third-party verification and validation engineering firm. Here is an example of our simulator and what it looks like. The model is then tested in the flight simulator to verify that the aircraft operating envelope and other safety of flight related characteristics are correct and able to operate. And finally, when all of the engineering models were perfected, only then did we start building the aircraft. So here, esteemed guests and everybody who's here, we would like to show you now the completed Rhaegal-A aircraft. Wow, I just got chills. It looks great in the video. But anyway, so this is the Rhaegal-A. It's half the size of the Rhaegal-B, and it's meant to provide a parallel development path during testing that will also feed into the Rhaegal-B, the full-size aircraft's development. Even though the Rhaegal-A is half the size of the Rhaegal-B, it can still carry a greater payload than any other VTOL UAV on the market, up to 1 metric ton. The Rhaegal-B, our production aircraft, will have a VTOL payload of 5,400 pounds and a CTOL payload of over 10,000 pounds. Both the Rhaegal-A and the Rhaegal-B have the ability of flying at 22,000 feet, which is in a very sparsely populated airspace. And it can also fly at about 240 miles an hour. Both aircraft can take off and land in severe winds and even in crosswinds, and even in freezing cold or burning heat, where no battery, fuel cell, or hydrogen tank can go currently. The Rhaegal-A is strictly a test vehicle to test the ability of our engineering models to scale correctly from smaller to larger. The Rhaegal-A is both aircraft are turboelectric drivetrain, which means that using a Safran Ardiden 3 turboshaft motor that can produce 2.8 megawatts, we use all the power that's available and don't store any on board the aircraft. This provides higher efficiency and better fuel mileage if you don't have to carry heavy batteries or take up the weight that would normally be taken up by payload. In this configuration, as you can see here, the ducted fans are tilted for takeoff and landing. We'd like to cut very quickly to a video that shows a demonstration of the nacelles rotating. As you can see, Oliver is standing there. But this is a video example of the nacelles that are rotating. All the lift in takeoff is provided by the ducted fans, and once in the air, then the ducts will rotate back to the horizontal position, as you can see in the next video here. And once they do that, then from the horizontal to the vertical, it will provide lift then upon landing. But during cruise flight, the ducts can be reduced in power to only provide thrust with all the lift coming from the aircraft in general, from the aircraft's wings. So what you can see here is that the nose also tilts. We're unlocking and opening the nose cargo door, so all cargo is loaded through the nose. And the aircraft can then be unloaded very easily. And you'll see here in a minute what we call the kneeling very shortly, but we wanted to show you this first of how the nose is able to rotate upwards to allow the aircraft to load cargo through the nose. This is a feature not only on this aircraft, but it will be a feature also on the full-size Rhaegal. Okay, very good. And so the next video I'd like to show you is what happens after the aircraft is landed and the nose is opened. Then we can also kneel the aircraft. In other words, be able to lower the cargo ramp and the nose of the aircraft down to provide a video of the, it's kind of slow here, but it's about 2 times the speed. But anyway, it lowers the nose to allow cargo to be loaded. The aircraft is designed to open new locations and deliver cargo where no fixed wing or helicopter can go. And it's also designed to land in locations where there is no pad or any other kind of structure. It can land in soft snow, sand, any type of soft sand, and even in marsh lands with the high flotation tires. The Rhaegal-B will have the capability of carrying 2 LD1 cargo containers or 4 LD2 containers or 2 LD3 containers, all fully loaded to their maximum container weight. Sabrewing has just been awarded an AFWERX SBIR Phase 2 contract with funding provided by Agility Prime. The award is a prime example of what Dr. Roper and Colonel Diller have envisioned for the Agility Prime program to determine how a commercial aircraft under development can also be used to meet the requirements of a specific military mission. Our SBIR contract provides R&D funding for using our navigation system and our detect and avoid system to provide an aircraft position solution in a denied GPS environment. We will also test this denied GPS solution both on the test bench and in the air to verify that it works correctly. We'll also demonstrate the Rhaegal aircraft's ability to deliver cargo to remote locations into various remote environments, both from runways and to unimproved areas. Finally, we will demonstrate a simulated load, including a CASEVAC mission to evacuate up to 6 evacuee casualties and 2 flight medics from a remote location and return them to hospitalization in the shortest amount of time possible. While Sabrewing has more than 65 orders for aircraft and letters of intent for another 250 more following type certification, Agility Prime is providing additional funding to make sure that our aircraft is the safest, most reliable aircraft that we can design and build. The Rhaegal-A will begin customer deliveries in January 2021 and continue throughout the year, with the ASA certification expected in July and FAA Part 23 certification expected in December 21. Sabrewing's unique modular construction allows us to build and deliver up to 500 aircraft per year, with the additional contingency of being able to build as many as 1,000 to 2,000 aircraft within a year as well. One final announcement that we would like to make is that we are very proud and humbled to announce that we have chosen a name for the military variant or military version of our Rhaegal-B aircraft. From this point forward, any military version of the Rhaegal-B aircraft will be known as the VQ Aleut, eVTOL cargo UAV. We thank the people of St. Paul Island and the Aleut community in general for their contribution to Native communities, as well as for providing us with the honor of lending us their noble name for our aircraft. thank you very much for being here, and I'm glad to answer any questions you may have during the proceeding. Once the ceremonies have wrapped up, we will go then to a Q&A session.
Ed, thanks so much. Exciting to see brand new hardware, to see in the middle of COVID being able to continue to move forward and to do the rollout of this flying machine that you have behind you. Looking forward to seeing it fly, and we're looking forward also to hearing a few words. We're going to check back in to see if Amos is actually made a good. Thanks for joining us, Amos. I'd love to hear your words about what you see this aircraft doing in delivering out to the far stretches of Alaska. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Amos Filamano, president of the Aleut community of St. Paul Island, and thank you, Colonel Diller, for the introduction. The St. Paul Tribal Council and I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about our community's future and what the Agility Prime contract that Sabrewing was awarded does for us and hopefully other Alaska Native communities. Together with our joint venture partner, we are working to bring training and jobs to the community by learning how to not only maintain and repair advanced UAVs like the one that was just unveiled. I'm still a little, excited. I mean, that was my first time seeing it, so really excited. But we're also providing valuable maintenance, repair, overhaul training, and parts to Sabrewing's military customers. The Aleut community of St. Paul was one of the first tribes in Alaska to recognize the future of drone technology. Several years ago, we instituted a professional drone pilot course that teaches drone operators how to fly safely and how to obtain their drone operator's license. St. Paul has been making great progress with not only the small drones, but is now advancing even further with this partnership, and it's looking to be a prosperous future with unmanned cargo drones that can carry tons of cargo and, more importantly, medicine, and fly hundreds of miles in any weather, deliver cargo to the most remote locations in Alaska and beyond, because we all know the weather challenges we have up here. The weather, it seems to get worse and worse every year. But the public and private partnerships such as Agility Prime not only provide a means, but ensure that our great nation stays ahead of others in technological advances. It also serves to provide communities with jobs, education, training, and the more important potential for a diverse economy. The Aleut community is in the process of establishing the St. Paul Experimental Test Range Complex, also known as the Spectre, where all types of unmanned cargo vehicles can come for testing in environments that are unique throughout the world. The Spectre complex has the capability of not only testing small UAVs, but with over 126,000 square miles of unpopulated airspace over the ocean, we also can test unmanned water vehicles, land-based unmanned vehicles, and of course the large UAVs like the Rhaegal-A. Our island provides the most unique location in the world and is ideal for testing any type of unmanned vehicle. Once again, we'd like to congratulate Sabrewing on the Agility Award, and we look forward to working closely with them on testing, deploying, and deploying the fastest, highest flying, highest capacity, and most economical unmanned cargo vehicle in the world. You guys did a wonderful job, and I'm still perplexed by just looking at it. I'm really excited for what the future brings. So thank you very much, Ed. Thank you, Colonel Diller.
Excellent. Thank you both. It's exciting to hear from the folks that are providing some of the resourcing and the vision, the engineers that are actually doing the work, and exciting to hear, especially from what we hope to hear is one of the early users. Ed, I have to tell you, the one question that keeps coming across, if you have time for just one question that's coming from the audience, there's a lot of excitement about one item, and maybe you can shed a little bit of light on this. When are we going to get to see the first flight of this amazing machine?
Well, that's a really good question. So COVID has got us locked down just like everybody else. We were originally planning on doing this June the 1st, so it would have been a month from today. But because of COVID and because of the quarantine here in California, we're going to have to wait, unfortunately, until they've cleared us to be able to travel And so one of the first places we plan on testing is at Edwards Air Force Base. We're going to do our initial hover tests and also our CTOL and transition flights out of Edwards is our plan to do right now. But of course, we are going to have to wait for our space in line once the economy opens up and we're able to travel again.
Well, Ed, I know there are going to be a lot of questions. I think as you heard a little bit earlier, for everyone out there, we're planning on closing all official discussions at 5 o'clock today, but we have a separate chat session open for anyone who is happy about these things and wants to spend an hour with us following this. You'll see links that are online. Ed will be there to answer questions. We invite any of our other manufacturers to join us for questions. We'll have the Agility Prime team there for any follow-up discussions, doing what we can to try to mimic that in-person opportunity for interaction, to ask those questions and to get to hear it straight from the engineers that are making this happen. All right,